Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone. Just let me share my screen. Hopefully you can see that. Can colleagues just shout out, perhaps, Olu, can you see that
Yes,
okay?
we
That's
can see it.
amazing.
Yeah, I can
Thank
see
you.
it. Thank you.
That's
We can
great.
see it.
Thanks, everyone. I won't be able to see hands just as I'm whizzing through this, but we'll hopefully have enough time at the end for us to pick up a conversation and get your feedback and thoughts. So what we've been using these sessions for is really to ensure that we're on the right track with the key innovation that we've been working on probably for around 12, 18 months now, which is integrated resource planning and integrated connected planning for the NHS. And it's a really critical part of the infrastructure that we think our whole NHS and NHS partners would benefit and will benefit from, based on all the feedback we've had and all of the pain points that have been shared with us around how to get transparency, how to get a single source of truth, and how to ensure that we have excellent evidence that we are managing our resources really well to improve outcomes and value for the NHS. So we want to just take you through how far we've got on this journey. It is work in progress. So every bit of feedback you give us is genuinely valued, and we do take on board all of this, your feedback. And what we really enjoy is after these sessions, we do a follow-up with anybody that wants to talk to us a little bit more. And from that, we get even richer insights into how we can improve the offer. But it's been an amazing journey so far, and looking forward to just sharing how far we've got with this. So if you want to put any details about the organisation you're from, or a bit of details about your role in the chat, that would be amazing. And Olu will be perhaps just kicking off my partner, Dr. Ola Akinremi, who is with us today, and he'll be demoing the product that we've been developing in a moment or two. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of background to the journey so far. As you may or may not know, I am currently working in one of the care system support units, which is called Arden and Gem. And we have 3 other partners, so we are a group of 4 working across the whole of England, and we do support in our other home countries as well, and we have other work that we do there. And we are a group that is around just under 7,000 strong staff. We've got a whole range of capabilities, ranging from consultancy teams, digital transformation, fantastic pharmacists and clinical teams, right through to all our data assets, national registries, and business intelligence planners that work with us very closely. So a fantastic team, really, that and what I really enjoy is bringing together those different combinations of expertise for the benefit of the NHS, and innovating and looking how we can bring those capabilities together to really support the NHS. What we've been very aware of is that there is a real need for connected planning and integrated planning. So at a national level, regional level, and within individual organisations, there's often something called triangulation that goes on between plans, which really tries to ensure that the plans that we construct make sense. So it basically asks questions to look at your finance plans. Do they marry with your workforce plans? Do they marry with your capacity planning going forward? But what we don't do is do that day in, day out. And so what we've been looking at is how can we systemize that whole approach of connected planning, really looking at the single source of truth together as multidisciplinary teams, whether you're in operations, whether you're in finance, workforce planning, whether you're really driving performance improvement. Everyone is looking at the same information together and taking better decisions together. So connected planning and integrated planning is really good decision making on resources, and ensuring that nobody works in silos, and that we actually have a really strong understanding of interdependency between decisions, and we're forward looking. I am also very, very keen that we use the power of the data that we have in the intelligence to try and get automation and AI so that we can predict our forecasts much, much better, particularly in terms of workforce. so that we can actually get ahead of some of the pressures and be able to take better decisions today that will influence tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. And we're doing this on an operational basis to inform our operational plans, but also to inform a rolling programme of annual planning, 3-yearly planning, 5-yearly planning, because we're constantly doing it really, and it's just part of the way we work. So that's what we've been building, is a tool that enables us to slot into that operational integrated team-based working for better decisions that will ultimately improve planning. And we've had quite a period now of talking with colleagues across, whether they be regional colleagues in NHS trusts or collaboratives in ICBs and in primary care, about what the sort of issues are that have been really what we would describe pain points that we're trying to address in this. And the often repeated ones is, we might do a strategy or we might do a plan. It then goes in the drawer. And then when we're dealing with our day-to-day operational planning, we may not be able to see that alignment with our strategy through to operations. We've been talking, and that could go with a capital plan, for example. You've got a strategic plan around developing a hospital, for example. And then as you go through and actually operationalize and deliver that day to day, those assumptions around what the operational performance would be change over time. So trying to keep that golden thread constantly updated between strategy and operations is critical. There is a huge amount of spreadsheets that still and BI tools that are used to try and ensure that we're able to tell that story. But those spreadsheets and those BI tools are not continually dynamically informed and continually updating and looking at the future. And we need a tool and a basis, a technology that can enable us to really manage the scale of data that's required. And we often have a need for planning across several dimensions, which I've got a slide in a second. And whether that's across a pathway of care, which involves several departments and organisations understanding their contribution to that overall pathway of care or population group, or whether it be around a network of organisations working together, for example, on specialised services, or whether it be a top-down, bottom-up reconciliation between the ICB or region, going down through all the individual organisations in their region, and then looking about how does that all stack up. So our whole process here is to ensure that we've got efficiency, avoid manual processes, and really enable better decision making. And what we've looked at is how do we ensure that we are looking at this from a multiple benefit lens, whether it be population and well-being outcomes, whether it be quality of care and equity of access in care, and then sustainability, productivity and efficiency. We need to keep all of those three views in line all of the time in how we ensure that we've got good decision making, because good decision making should actually influence all of those three optics. And as I said earlier, really, it's in terms of how we're doing this and who it's for. It's for a place or a community. It could be for a specialty across a pathway of care or for a specific population group. It can be for a region and an organisation going from board to floor, or it could be across a multi-organisational lens, where actually multiple organisations are jointly accountable together for outcomes. And what we're going to be demonstrating in a moment is how we've built this across the resource pillars, whether that be looking at finance, resources, workforce, whether it's looking at capacity within the organisation and the pathway. And overlaying this are three key influences. One is the assumptions we're making on productivity, the targets we're setting for population benefits or performance outcome improvements. And then the third overlay is all of the transformation programs and transformation initiatives that we are adapting day in, day out to deliver the results we need. Just a quick shout out for the insightful board papers that came out recently. We'll put them in the chat bar if colleagues haven't had a chance to have a little squint at those. But what we've done is to ensure that what we're building enables you to tick the box that actually an insightful board is using information and using analysis in the way that provides better decision making. And so everything that's in those papers, and there's a paper that's produced for the ICB, and there's a similar sister paper produced for providers. It all points to promoting integrated collective decision making using the right measures, the right intelligence, and the right data to get better decision making. We also have taken a step back to think about what actually is planning all about, and what does good planning look like. And so we formulated, what I'm not here to do is to sell technology to you. What I'm trying to do is to embed good practice and good decision making. So we've on the platform that we've developed, we've integrated a process into this that is best practice process in terms of planning. So it takes you through a 7-step process. It's an iterative process. You can't go 1 to 7. You'll go in and out of these different steps because it is an iterative circular process. But the tools are here to help you with that process. And similarly, what we have done, and we've taken those 7 steps here, which I just talked about, but what we have done is connect them across the pillars that I mentioned earlier. So those 7 steps are embedded into your activity planning, your demand and capacity planning, your workforce planning, finance, your targets for productivity and efficiency and performance, and then your overlay of your transformation initiative. So what we've done is integrate these 7 steps across the pillars of planning in, I hope, something that you will recognize is going to add to and help anyone who's in this planning role. It's incredibly difficult. And if you don't have a support like this, we're hoping that it is actually really helpful. Otherwise, you do it through exchanging spreadsheets and BI tools, doing triangulation, and having multiple meetings to check out that you're all actually working on the same page. This platform enables you to start with that as a sort of start, really. So the solution overview, as I say, what we've done is we've built those 7 steps into the platform, and it's actually connecting these pillars, as we call them, of planning, which you'll see in a moment, with a intelligent dashboard on the front, which gives you assurance that you are connecting your planning, that you're making good decisions. It'll tell you where there are red flags appearing, where plans look as if they're misaligned, or where there's a forecast that, for example, there's insufficient workforce to deliver your performance, or there is a view about whether productivity is dropping over the forecast period going ahead, whether finance doesn't appear to be aligned with the workforce required, etc. There's a whole range of critical, intelligent questions that you would want to ask month in, month out, to ensure that your plans are aligned, fully aligned. As I said earlier, in order to do this, you really need data and intelligence to do it. So spreadsheets don't cut it. And what we have been doing is looking about how can we ensure that we're drawing in all of the right data, whether that be the FDP, sitting around the FDP as a tool and an application, whether it's local data sources and local information going into a data hub. And then around that, we have the individual models. This particular demonstration we're going to give you today is on a technology called Anaplan. We also have a sister technology, which is Oracle. Both actually will have the same methodologies applied within them. And I won't say any more on that, but essentially we have designed this with technical advisors to ensure that we've got the right modelling internally within the platform. I think I'll probably leave it there, actually, because otherwise we have way too many slides to sort of, be helpful at this point. And if I just hand over to my colleague, Dr. Olu Akinremi, and he will just go through the demo. And I think we probably have enough time then to take a couple of questions at the end, if that's okay. So thank you. I'll stop sharing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Alison. Yeah, I'll just share my screen now just to play up the demonstration. It's about 10 to 10 to 13 minutes long, so we'll see how we go. But it's a detailed demo that shows the capability of the platform and what we're trying to put together as Alison described. So just a minute. Share my screen. Can anybody see my screen, please?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, I think I'm on the wrong one. Yeah. Okay.
Demo. For context, our planning process is built on 7.
Anybody hear the video, please? I don't know. The audio is coming through.
I can hear it. I don't know if anybody else can. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Planning for NHS demo. For context, our planning process is built on 7 key steps. Here's a
It's gone off actually, Lou.
I was
It
trying
was
to
on a
put-
second ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going. Technical. Share my screen again. Okay.
Welcome to this integrated planning for NHS demo. For context, our planning process is built on 7 key steps. Here's a quick overview based on our approach. Step 1. Define population need, inputting the necessary data for the planning process. Step 2. Identify current and future demand. The activity, workforce, and finance models churn the data to identify current and future demands. Step 3. Map current capacity. Using the activity and workforce models to calculate current capacity in relation to available resources. Step 4. Link demand to activity planning, translating current capacity into actionable activity plans. Step 5. Apply productivity and efficiency assumptions, using performance and productivity models to generate metrics for the trusts. Step 6. Align resources, plans, and forecasting, integrating activity, workforce, and finance plans to assure alignment, as seen on the assurance board. Step 7. Implement monitoring, feedback, and continuous improvement, using the assurance board and initiative plan adjustments features to review, monitor, and adjust plans. Our starting point is the landing page, which provides intuitive navigation and clear guidance for planners. This page marks the beginning of Step 1, where data is input into the system. From here, users can seamlessly access core planning areas such as workforce, finance, activity, productivity, performance, initiative. Let's proceed by navigating to the assurance page using this link. Now, we are on the assurance page, where we can analyze how different models are interconnected to support accurate decision-making. Here, steps 2 through 6 are represented. The activity, workforce, and finance models are used to identify current and future demand, calculate current capacity and activity plans. Performance and productivity metrics are also integrated. Finally, this page brings together all integrated plans and aligns them on the assurance board. This page consolidates data from various models, including finance, workforce, activity, productivity, performance, and initiatives. With these connected models, we can identify variances and gaps that need attention at department, directorate, organization, regional, and system levels. For instance, in the Workforce Planning Assurances grid, the whole-time equivalent, WTE, from the revised plan of workforce model is recorded as 7190. Meanwhile, The whole time equivalent from the revised plan of finance model is 7209. This results in a variance of 19, highlighting a potential discrepancy that requires further analysis. Similarly, variances can be observed between the baseline and the revised budget across other sections, including finance, activity, and productivity. This interconnection is at the heart of our plan integration and assurance process. In the Initiative Planning Assurances grid, the total number of initiatives with gaps is tracked, helping to identify initiatives that may fall short of their targets. For example, an initiative created earlier in the year may underperform, which would be flagged here for further review and corrective action. The page also features visual indicators, making it easier to identify key metrics and significant variances across different plans. Just as we identified variances between the workforce and financial models, similar variances can be observed across other sections. These are the inputs that drive our assurance process and, if needed, the subsequent initiative adjustments. For the purpose of this demo, our focus will be on bridging the variance gap within workforce planning by creating a new initiative. Let us now proceed to the workforce page using this link. The workforce page provides insights into workforce planning, including forecasts and budget allocations. This page supports steps 3 and 4. The activity and workforce models here calculate current capacity and translate that capacity into an actionable activity plan. Let us consider a scenario for November. The workforce forecast indicates a requirement of 1,500 whole-time equivalents. However, the current budget accounts for 1,363 whole-time equivalents. To address this difference, we will create an initiative to request an increase in workforce allocation. This initiative will help align workforce needs with financial planning and ensure optimal resource allocation. This action is also informed by Step 5, performance and productivity considerations, and feeds into our integrated assurance process in Step 6. Next, let us move to the Planning Tool page using this link. The Planning Tool page serves as a central hub, providing access to various planning functions and tools. The Planning Tool is where we operationalize the insights from Steps 2 to 5, and it sets the stage for integrating and assuring these plans in Step 6. From here, I will proceed to the Create Initiative page. On the Create Strategic Initiative page, we can enter all the necessary details required to create a new initiative. Key details include initiative title, purpose, executive lead, etc. For this demo, I have created an initiative called Workforce NOV, which focuses on addressing workforce planning requirements. By creating this initiative, we are moving into Step 7, where the Assurance Board and initiative adjustments come into play to ensure that the integrated plans are aligned and correct. Once all the details are entered, we can proceed by clicking the Create Initiative action to formally initiate the process. In real-world scenarios, initiatives could have multiple impacts across workforce, finance, and other areas. For the purpose of this demo, the current initiative will only impact workforce directly, though its implications on other plans will be updated automatically. The objective of this initiative is to increase the workforce budget from 1,363 to 1,500 whole-time equivalents. Once the initiative is defined, it can be submitted for the first level of approval by clicking Submit. Additionally, a notification can be sent to approvers to review the initiative. Let us move to the Strategic Initiative Approval page. This stage reinforces Step 7, where the Assurance Board and initiative plan adjustments are key. Approvers review, provide feedback, and decide on the initiative adjustments. Once the initiative has been created, it moves to the Strategic Initiative Approval page for review and approval. On this page, approvers can review the initiative details, approve or reject the initiative. The system records key approval details, including initiative approval information, approval status, approval date. For this demo, the workforce. NOV initiative has been submitted for the first level of approval. Approvers have the option to either approve the initiative or reject it with comments explaining their decision. Once the first level of approval is complete, the initiative is forwarded for the second level of approval. Notifications can also be sent to the next set of approvers. Let us proceed to the revised budget page. On the revised budget page, we can review the initiative details and proceed with the approval process. At this stage, steps 6 and 7 come together. The revised budget reflects the integrated activity, workforce, and finance plans, showing how they align. This can be reviewed on the assurance board. Within the initiative summary, we locate the newly created initiative and map its impact across various areas, including finance, workforce, performance, activity, productivity. For example, the budget for workforce, previously set at 1,363 whole-time equivalents, now increased by 137, bringing the total to 1,500 whole-time equivalents. The corresponding financial adjustments are also reflected on this page. Once the impacts are mapped, we move to the approval summary, where we define the approvers responsible for reviewing the impacts associated with this initiative. After identifying the required approvers, the next step is to click Submit Improved Initiatives, which forwards the initiative for review and approval. Approvers can then review the revised budget, provide comments, click Submit Sign-Off to complete the approval process. Once approved, the final step is to update the workforce model. Let us now navigate to the Approved Strategic Initiative Level 2 page to finalize the process. On the Approved Strategic Initiative Level 2 page, we can review initiatives that have completed the approval process and analyze their final impact across different areas. This is the culmination of our integrated assurance process, confirming that the initiative has been reviewed, adjusted, and approved to align all integrated plans. Consider a scenario where an initiative affects multiple areas, such as finance and activity. For example, an initiative titled Finance and Activity Test is currently marked as rejected because approvals are required from both departments. If any department rejects the entire initiative is automatically rejected. However, in this demo, the Workforce NOV initiative, focusing solely on the workforce, has successfully passed all approval levels. To finalize the process, we now proceed by clicking Send Approved Budget to Workforce Model, which updates the revised budget in the workforce model. Additionally, a notification can be sent to the initiative proposer to confirm full approval and implementation. Let us now return to the workforce page to verify the updated numbers. Now that the initiative has been fully approved and implemented, we return to the workforce page to review the updated figures. This review completes the assurance loop from step 7, confirming that the integrated plans have been adjusted correctly based on the initiative plan adjustments feature. As a result of the approved initiative, the workforce budget has been successfully updated. Previously, the budget accounted for 1,363 whole-time equivalents, but with the approved initiative, now increased by 137 whole-time equivalents, the total is 1,500 whole-time equivalents. The corresponding financial adjustments are also reflected in the revised budget, ensuring alignment with organisational planning goals. Moving on to the assurance page now, we can see the assurance page automatically have been synchronized to the updates made just now. This update demonstrates the tool's capability to seamlessly integrate initiative impacts across different models and ensure data consistency. It is the practical outcome of our process, starting from data input to demand modeling, capacity calculation and activity planning, performance metrics, integrating plans, and finally, assuring and adjusting the plans. This demonstration has showcased how our tool facilitates integrated business planning by ensuring seamless connectivity across workforce, finance, activity, productivity, and performance for critical planning. We have seen how initiatives can be created, reviewed, and approved through a structured workflow, enabling accurate variance analysis to identify gaps and take corrective actions. A structured approval process to ensure accountability and alignment across departments. Automatic budget updates that reflect approved initiatives in the workforce model. Beyond these core functionalities, the tool offers additional capabilities such as scheduling data imports to keep plans up to date, automatic integration across multiple systems for real-time insights, enhanced workflow notifications to improve collaboration and response times. By leveraging the comprehensive planning features of this tool, organizations can drive informed decision-making and achieve their strategic objectives efficiently. Thank you for following this demo.
Thank you, everyone. That brings us to the end of the demo. And yeah, and just to add to that, is an iterative process, and also beyond that step of assuring your plans, even once the plans are assured and they are locked at the beginning of the year, it's something that is dynamic, that could be decisions could be made between multidisciplinary teams to make sure it's always in sync. And as well, if those plans are in sync, the next step further to that is, are they achieving the performance targets set at the beginning of the year, or the implied productivity set by the organization at the beginning of the year? So that's like the step 2 of the assurance. So yeah, thank you, everyone. Now, Alison, I don't know whether you have further comments. If not, I would like to take questions from the audience, please. Thank you.
It'd be great to hear people's comments and just a little bit of, anything about your role. As Olu said, we've tried to build it so that it's really reflecting individual professional roles, whether that be someone who's a performance leader, performance improvement leader, workforce planner, someone who's managing the day-to-day ops, finance. So effectively, we've brought it together, and each of the modules are there as your toolkit for your particular expert area, but you come together through this connected assurance dashboard. So the idea is that I always envisage, people meeting on a multidisciplinary team meeting, whether that be at an ICS level or at a department level or a board level, and you're looking at this together from all of those different perspectives and making decisions based on the information that's in front of you, because all of the information is the same information. It's the same single source of truth used throughout the models. What I put in the chat was the example that Olu has just presented to you is what I would say is the minimum requirements. So effectively what it's saying is this plan, it adds up against that plan. So that's basically what that is saying. But the levels above that, the tiers above that, are then looking at, asking those more intelligent questions of, okay, they might add up, but is it sufficient? So necessary and sufficient. So the necessary is that plan reconciles with that plan, but is it sufficient? Is it sufficient? Is it offering good value? Is it product? So it's all of those added questions we're now working on. So please come in with any of your points, questions, just reaction comments, incredibly helpful. Thank you, Claude, for putting up the individual sessions we've got coming up after today. Today is the sort of overall macro bringing together of all of the models into the assurance. But then we have also got separate sessions which enable you to deep dive into the individual ones. The workforce planning one in particular is fresh off the decks. So be very interested in your views about the workforce planning tool. And we also have our net zero, which is an example of a pathway planning. Although it's entitled net zero, it actually is a pathway planning tool, really. So it'd be great to get your view. But all of this is all part of the same sort of, system, really, that's on offer. So shall we open it up if there's anybody that wants to come in? We've had a couple of please pop your hand up if you'd like to come in. But a question here earlier on was, is this within an organization or is it across a system? It's the thing that I really like about it and why it's so powerful is the rolling up and rolling down. So if you imagine you're within a trust, you can roll up to the board and roll down to the individual department. And with the workforce planning, you'll see that we're rolling down into individual teams and roles and at that level. So you're getting right down and rolling up. Equally, you can go across a collaboration. So you can look horizontally across multiple organizations working together, for example, a provider collaboration, or place-based, where you've got multi-agencies working together. So that could be local authority, third sector, and the NHS coming together. So it enables you to look at that. And then from an ICS perspective or national and regional, that enables you to do that drop down from an organisational level right across. So it's incredibly powerful, and it's only as good, I guess, as everyone using it and adopting it. So adoption is critical. Enterprise-wide systems like this, clue is in the title, really, enterprise-wide. So you get more value from them if they are adopted fully. Less value if they're not, because the difference between this tool and a BI tool, BI is something where you're provided with precise insight and advice based on usually a set of questions, and there's a report or there's a tool that's generated on the back of a set of questions that are being provided. This is something that's just there as a way of working. So it's on your desktop all of the time, really, is the way of thinking about it. And you're continuously looking at adapting and changing your plans. And it's very, very dynamic. So I just wanted to say it can do, obviously, these enterprise-wide tools are very powerful, but the key to them is the adoption, really. It's a little bit like your finance system. And when I started on this journey, and my background is finance planning, ops, commissioning, and capacity planning, capital planning, and that sort of thing. But when you think of a finance system, that's everybody's involved in that. Everybody's involved in it. This is the same thing, really. It's called enterprise-wide performance and planning. So that's the sort of other name it goes by. Any points anybody else wants to come in with on the questions or points? Please come in.
I think there's a question here that is this currently being used across an ICS?
So I don't think any ICS, and by an ICS we talk about multiple organisations, are using it. It's been used in individual elements. So, for example, an individual department or an individual specialty has used it in that regard, and they've used all the individual elements. So they've looked at capacity, workforce, finance within that. So from a sort of, a demonstration of connected planning, yes, it has been used, but it hasn't been used in anger at scale, because that would take quite a lot of scaling up from that particular use case. But it has been used and is being used in an ICS for a particular use case. In this regard, it was A&E and emergency department planning. So you could imagine using it for that. But as I say, really, the benefit comes from trying to get a more wide scale use of it, really.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Alison. Are there any questions? There are no more questions in the chat. Are there any questions from the floor? Please feel free to chime in. And just to say that the slide deck will be made available to all attendees of the meeting after the meeting.
Yeah. I assume there is a cost. Well, the technology, I say, Arden and Gem and all of the CSUs, we're part of the NHS. So this isn't, I get paid the same, whatever, really. So, it isn't a matter of one commission or anything like that. I think the fact is you cannot do this connected planning without a technology that handles the scale of data we're talking about, ingests that data, connects the data together, and has an AI engine on it. Really is what we're talking about, is the technology. There is a cost, but what we've done, and Oli may want to talk a little bit about this, what I've tried to do is to try and create a sort of low bar, really, to be able to come on the journey with us and develop this, because I do think it's going to be incredibly powerful for everyone. But the initial phase is essentially coming in with your data and using it and getting confidence that there's a return on investment, because there is a return on investment, but you need to use your data to be able to prove it. So the first phase would be that. And only once you've got that confidence and you're able to use the models that we've built, and you can see the proof of value, for want of a better word, you can see that, then we would help you write your own business case to get this through your own governance processes. So there's a sort of a first stage investment and a second stage investment, and it really depends on, as I say, the enterprise wide adoption, how fast, how you do that in stages, as to, you know, ensuring that the return on investment pays for itself really through that, is what I would recommend. So happy to talk to you about that. So you know, because it just depends on what the individual case is that we're looking at. Thanks for the question, Hayden.
Yeah, thank you, Alison. And just to mention off the back of that, there's been a national procurement that has been done as well to make sure this is also easily adopted by NHS organizations. So to bring the cost further down. So there's a national procurement that has been done for these platforms for NHS organizations.
Yeah, that's right. It was signed off by Julian Kelly, so it's been through several governance layers. So the technology has gone through a national procurement to ensure best value. But as I say, it's really difficult to do this without a technology. Really, is all I'd say. Really, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alison. Please feel free to contact us. Claude, if you want to put the contact in the chat as well, feel free to reach out to us after this webinar. And as mentioned earlier, we'll be sharing the slide deck, the video from this webinar as well with everyone on the previous webinars. So I want to say thank you again for everybody for your time, for taking the time out to be with us this afternoon. Thank you.